Welcome to the ExecMBA podcast. I'm your host, Brett Twitty, and you are listening to a new episode. On this episode of the podcast, I'm excited to share my recent conversation with Kevin Rivers. Kevin is a second-year student in our Executive MBA Class of 2021, and he is also one of the co-presidents of the Veteran Executive Students at Darden student organization. I recently connected with Kevin via Zoom to talk a bit more about his background, his decision to pursue an MBA, what led him to Darden, and so much more. I think you're going to enjoy this conversation, so without further ado, here is my interview with Kevin Rivers. Kevin, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, Brett. It's an honor to be here. Thank you for having me.
It's great to have you here. Thank you so much for taking time out of your day for the podcast. It's always great to catch up. Before we get into the meat of our conversation, just want to check in with you to see how you're doing. How are things?
So it's an interesting world and environment we live in today with the COVID environment. But you take it day by day, and you do your daily routines to get that schedule going, and you do your daily detoxes and stress relievers that you can do. Whether it's, for me personally, it's I do a little bit of meditation, and then of course working out. So just to make sure you maintain mentally and physically. So it's I'm doing well, Brett. Thank you for asking, though.
Yeah, and I probably need to step it up over here. I'm not doing a daily detox, so perhaps I need to reconsider my schedule.
Yes, I can send you mine if you like.
Well, Kevin, I think about, so you were a prospective student. We talked about football quite a bit. We're both football fans. The Air Force Academy is probably kicking off soon. And of course, the Miami Dolphins are back on the field. How are you feeling?
Yeah, so, Miami, I'm hoping for the best. Sometimes they live up to expectations. Sometimes they disappoint, but I am definitely hoping for the best from my Miami Dolphins. The season's still young, so we'll see how the season goes. And then college football, I love college football as a former Air Force Academy football player. We have the Mountain West just opened up their season again just recently, so excited about that as well. And then Air Force is playing Navy here, and I don't know, I'm feeling good about Air Force prospects. We're looking pretty good, Brett.
We will always accept a bold prediction here on the podcast. So it's possible this may air after that game, but nevertheless, Kevin, I like your confidence. So with that said, one of the best things about the podcast is this is an opportunity for listeners to hear about the people who are in this program and the reason they decided to pursue an MBA, what led them to Darden, what the experience has been like thus far. So many things. We invited you here, not just because of your story, but also because you're involved as a leader of our veteran executive students at Darden student organization. We're going to talk about that a little bit later in the conversation. Before we get there, tell us a bit more about your background.
Yeah, so I am a major in the Air Force active duty. So my specialty is I'm an acquisition manager. So what that is I manage, within this role, I manage to do program management activities across, either a single program or multiple programs within a portfolio. And what I ultimately do is I deliver innovative and just like cutting edge technologies and capabilities to our nation's warfighters. Currently what I do right now in the Pentagon is I am a program element monitor, or a PEM. And what we do is we manage and direct and provide oversight of different financial requirements and execution of for the Air Force. And then for me personally, for me in my position, it also includes the Air National Guard and Air Force Reserve on the C-130 aircraft platform. And what that is, for those who don't know what a C-130 is, it's a cargo and troop transportation platform. It is very versatile. I call it the workforce of the Air Force. And it can go into many different environments and to deliver effects and capabilities in different realms.
I think when we first met, you were perhaps doing something in space, although you couldn't tell me exactly what you were doing. I think tell us a little bit more about sort of the arc of your career, because one of the things I think is interesting is oftentimes people will talk about the military as this like monolithic category. And I can say, as someone who's had the good fortune of meeting a lot of people who've served, men and women who've served in our armed services, people do so many different things, and there's so many different kinds of roles and responsibilities, and even across of course, the branches. You have Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard. A lot of different responsibilities, though, even within, say, the Navy or the Air Force. So tell us a little bit more about the arc of your career.
Yeah, so when I first started out, I began in doing a software development, so managing software programs. Mainly those were, my first program was called a Data Medical Information Program. And what that is it's a electronic health record that we use in theater. So when we're overseas in the AO, area of responsibility, they use this program for troops, when they're on the battlefield and unfortunately get injured. This is the software that was used in that instance. Also, so once I finished that program, I moved over to space, and that's where things kind of, the curtain kind of comes down a little bit, Brett. But mainly I worked in offensive and defensive counter space, and that was just an amazing time. And then actually I moved from there. I was selected to go work in industry for a year. It's a special program within the Air Force called Education with Industry. And what it is, I work with industry and learn just really like how it's managed and how it's ran in the private sector. And working with the corporate leadership at La Quinta Inns and Suites, it was just a phenomenal time, just learning from them, picking their brain, learning their business decisions and why they made their business decisions and the foundations behind those decisions. And also just learning a lot of the technical aspects as well. And then from there, I moved over here to the Pentagon, and where I currently in my current role as the program element monitor, and then also did some special operations command work as well.
So doing a lot of different things. There's a
Yeah.
lot of different kinds of work in your background with the Air Force. I want to go a little bit further back though, because I know part of your story sort of also involves your decision to go to the Air Force Academy, as mentioned earlier. You played football there, so take us a little bit further back. Where are you from originally, and how did you decide to go to the Air Force Academy?
Yeah, so growing up, I was an Air Force brat. My dad is retired Air Force as well. And so growing up, it's interesting because the Air Force Academy was never really it was never in my radar. um, and then, so I played football, ran track in college, or excuse me, in high school. And then during the junior, senior year of being recruited, a recruiter from Air Force Academy walks up to me and says, "Let me tell you about the Air Force Academy." And I was like, "I don't know anything about it." And then, but yeah, so we developed an amazing relationship, and I was able to take a visit out to the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs, and the rest is history. I was sold from the time I was leaving Colorado Springs, and I felt like that was the place for me to be. So opportunity to get a great education, career opportunity, and also the opportunity to serve my nation at the same time.
And I believe you played defensive back
I
on the
did.
football team. And I've asked you this before, but I just want to make sure we get this on the podcast. Is there such a thing as Rivers Island?
Rivers Island. So yes, there is when you're a standalone corner and you are man on man. So there is no help. There's no safety. There's no safety valve. It's just you and the other person behind that's across from you.
So for the non-football fan listeners, one I think is probably one of the first things that Kevin and I talked about, because he did play defensive back, and asked him if he sought out those one-on-one matchups, and I believe the answer is yes, Kevin.
Oh yeah, I was a little bit of a talker on the field, so I invited those opportunities.
So, listening to your story, I mean, you mentioned the opportunity you had with La Quinta, sort of get outside of the Air Force and
Yes.
private business. Where did your decision or interest in pursuing an MBA come up? Is it something that you had thought about for a while? Is it a relatively recent idea? How did MBA
Yeah.
get on your radar?
So, so when I graduated from the Air Force Academy, it was mainly like I wanted to get MBA. That was part of my desire. I wanted to also pursue an engineering degree as well. I graduated with a business undergrad degree, and I wanted to get the technical aspects as well. I mean, I had the baseline coming from engineering school at the Air Force Academy, but I wanted to get an advanced engineering degree to solidify that. And so I was able to accomplish that. And then from that point, I was like, all right, now I need to hammer down on the really the business acumen and fundamentals as well. And so it wasn't necessarily like if I was going to go to business school, it was when and which one. And so when I moved here to Washington, D.C., really like started thinking heavily, okay, now what's the next step? Like, how can I make this happen? Now, as I was considering different schools, I was looking at various different aspects of, one, is this the right time for me? Like, is the location right? Does the schedule match up with working a full-time job? And also, like, what did I want to get out of the program too? So as I explored different schools, and Darden really resonated with me. I mean, here's with the campus being located here in Washington, D.C., that was amazing because I work here in Washington, D.C. And also just I wanted to get the most I could out of the program as well. And that's why I chose to be GEMBA, which is a Global Executive MBA. And I wanted to do, this is the opportunity for one, not for me just to travel and see different cultures, but to learn how different cultures manage business and how different countries manage business. And because that was really my passion, was to go into international business. So I thought this was just an amazing opportunity. And then also with Darden offering the case study method, where you get to learn from your peers. And I quickly learned throughout, LR1 and Q1 and Q2, we have such a diverse cohort, and just the conversations that I'm able to have in class, even outside of class, it's just, you just pick up so much just because there's things that I would never even thought about just from my background, and someone else just comes with a different perspective that just explodes, my thought process on things. I was like, I never considered that. And that's what makes this learning experience so just like great and transformational. Because transformative, excuse me, because of the fact that you expand your horizons so much.
I think of you as someone who was really deliberate about his MBA research. I feel like we probably spent a couple years together as you thought through your options.
Yeah.
I mean, you did a lot of legwork. How did you figure out what was important to you as you went through that process?
Yeah, Brett. So we, well, I say we because I feel like you were part of that journey with me. But yeah, it was a very extensive research. I wanted to make sure I got this right. You only get your MBA once, and you want it to be with the right school and with the right, really with the right environment. So I did a lot of I call it courting with Darden and a couple other schools as well, and went to a lot of coffee and meetups and breakfast meetups and networking events, even prior to me submitting an application, because I really want to know like how like the culture of what the school is about. And so really for me, what was my decision process, or what was my ultimate deciding factor, was really the people, right? It was the people that I got to know, the current students and the class of 2020 and 2019 as well, that I was just able to talk to, and how they're just so informative and helpful, and just really just impressive individuals in their personal lives and their careers. And it made me like, I want to be part of this group. I want to be part of this network. I want to, contribute to this school and this network, and keep it going.
Now, that's great to hear. We always encourage people to take us up on all these events because, I think people tend to think, about brand and network and all of these things when making an MBA decision. Of course, you should think about all of those things, but at the end of the day, the people in the room, the culture of the place, how you will relate to your classmates and how those classmates relate to you matters a lot, matters a ton. It has a direct impact on how you experience that program.
Exactly, Brett.
So, Kevin, you are now, gosh, can you believe it? In the second year of the program, on the downhill side, you've got 3 more quarters to go, if my math is right.
3 more quarters.
Oh my gosh.
Currently in final season right now. So once that's through, I 3 more check marks.
It's amazing how quickly people progress through this program. Has it felt like that to you? I'm sure there are times, months, maybe quarters that have felt longer, but you now turn around and you are effectively, through 7 quarters, it's a 10 quarter program. I mean, the end is near.
Yeah, it does. It does. It does pass you by very quickly. I mean, it may not feel like it at the moment, just because once you're in it, you're going through it. And it is, I mean, darting for me has been challenging, which I wouldn't have wanted any other way. The things that are challenging, the things that are hard, that's what makes it worthwhile, right? Um, yeah, it's been a great experience. It's been like I mentioned, I used this word before, but it's been so transformative for me. Like just to learn about stuff, like I would have never taken like a decision analysis class if it wouldn't have been for the school, and like learn about the different principles about that, and now I can apply it in my current job. There's a lot of things that you learn in class on a weekend or on a Tuesday or a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday evening online, and you can go next day and be like, hey, I can see where I can apply this, and then you insert it into your actual role in your job, and that's how you know that's how I got better at my current role, and that's how I build up your team around you. Is you use the information that you learn to make everything better around in your environment.
Well, that's one of the benefits of doing a working professional program, that learn it on Sunday, apply it on
Hmm.
Monday, that real time return on investment, as people say. It's a very real thing, particularly when you learn in the case method. It's very easy to figure out how you can take this information and use it, because, of course, class is all about application. And you're right, things do move very quickly for the people in the program. One of the things one of your classmates talked about, so Clarissa Jimenez was on the
Oh yeah.
podcast and was talking about having this sort of all-in mentality. She knew that she was going to go all in. She's going to get as much out of this program as she possibly could, and that's just been her sort of guiding principle. I wonder if that resonates with you.
It does. When I chose this program, I knew it was going to be such a huge time commitment. And I knew it was going to be, there's going to be some areas of my life that we're going to have to like take back seat. And I think when you do a program as rigorous as Darden, and that's, you have to involve yourself, you have to be all in. I think you have to take the most, you have to try to get the most out of it you can. You have to utilize the career services team and just start bouncing ideas off of them, or just like interviewing, doing informational interviews with your classmates, just to seek out what other career fields may be out there that you just never really thought about, and be like, wow, that's actually pretty interesting. Let me look more into this. And lo and behold, some people, they actually switch career fields just based on an informational interview that they had with classmates. So yeah, I think you just really have to be go into it with a very open mind. Also, like have be no. I mean, it definitely is. Of course, like a lot of people don't know. If they're going to be a climber, switcher, whatnot coming in. But have a good idea about what you like. What are you getting this? What are you getting this program for? Because or this degree for? Because I think just having that mindset, or in that really that drive, is what's going to keep you going through the program. Because like I said, it is challenging, but if you have a purpose for why you're there, that's what keeps you motivated.
Those are certainly things we ask about in the admissions process. There's, of course, a short answer question on the application. What's your short-term career goal? A lot of our time in the interview with candidates is spent around, why do you want to get an MBA? Why do you want to come to Darden? What are your career goals post-MBA? We really do encourage people to do this work up front prior to the start of the program. In fact, we launched a bunch of career resources. A big credit to our career team last summer. Launched a new pre-matriculation course. It's optional, but it helps you sort of engage with some of these questions of what you'd like to do and what you want to get out of this. Because you're right, Kevin, when this gets really busy, and there are going to be quarters that are going to be really hard because you're taking classes that maybe don't come as naturally to you, it's so important to stay engaged with that sort of actualizing impulse. Why did you want to do this in the first place? Why are you here? What's your ultimate purpose?
Exactly.
So the thing I was thinking about as you were talking earlier is you had said, I wouldn't have taken decision analysis but for the fact that it was a required course. And of course, Darden's Executive MBA program has a core curriculum that includes things like decision analysis, of course, accounting, finance, but also management communications, leading organizations, business ethics, a set of core classes that all students take, both in the Executive MBA program as well as in the full-time residential MBA program. Knowing that you were going to have to take some of these classes that may not have been previously in your academic background, you mentioned being an engineer, doing a master's in engineering. I'm guessing there wasn't a lot of finance or accounting in your prior educational experiences.
I can honestly say that there have been very few to no times that I've had to assess a financial statement, Brett. But
So
no, but I mean, just kind of to that point, it's just like, those are weak points, right? Those are skills that I'm glad that it is part of the core curriculum because as you grow into a business professional, that's the type of knowledge that you're just going to have to have background in and be able to see a financial statement and point out different aspects that is just not necessarily gleaming at you. You can provide the background analysis of why the numbers are the way they are, and be able to consult or give recommendations to the business that you're working for on different aspects that you're seeing based on a sound business background that you've learned.
And of course, you do get that solid foundation in business. That's one of the benefits of a general management curriculum. How did you get through? I mean, what were some of the trickier courses for you, and how did you kind of work through them? I mean, I think that's always part of the experience for any executive MBA student. I mean, we talk about this a lot on the podcast. You're going to have classes that come more naturally, classes that are going to be more challenging. How did you find your way through those classes that were more challenging?
Yeah, so it's interesting because I have an engineer master's and like numbers should be my bread and butter. But a lot of so the economics class and the accounting class and some of the financial classes, those were challenging for me, Brett. And so at Darden we have what we call learning teams, and honestly, if it wasn't like my learning team has been so critical in my experience here at Darden. And amazing thing about your learning team is they pull. There's so many different backgrounds. So there's a lot of different strengths within your learning team. So you have various different classes that you're going through, and someone may be just a rock star in accounting. So they're like, all right, guys, I'm going to take the lead on this class or this quarter. And then so like for me, like I've been taught as an officer like leadership. That's a lot of what I've been learning. So a lot of those classes, like I am, that's where I can contribute the most in. So everyone has their strengths and everyone has their weaknesses, and we all pull all that together and make it work, and we develop each other as we meet on a once a week or twice a week or even 3 times a week basis, just discussing through the various different cases, preparing for classes, building spreadsheets for classes, and teaching each other how to analyze the different cases and the facts of the case and the financial statements, things like that. Just so we all like are on an equal knowledge or baseline knowledge of what is going on, instead of someone just off in a corner like floundering and not knowing what to do. We all make sure that we are all understanding the content and can contribute to the class, and that's one big thing, is just the ability to, because I think in a case study method type teaching, accountability is huge. You want to be accountable to your classmates, more so just to be able to contribute to conversations as you're being called on. And so I think in this program, which I profoundly respect, is that I think everyone has taken a personal ownership of that. And they want to make sure that if they are cold called or called upon, they're not going to waste anyone's time. We're all here to get a great education, and we're only in class for a limited amount of time. So we all want to do the best we can to contribute to the conversation, even ask insightful questions as well, to build everyone's learning experience.
I'm so glad you made that point. That's something we actually share with prospective students all the time because when we talk with them about the case method, so much of what we hear from alumni and from current students in terms of the values, not only the things that you talked about here, hearing other people's perspectives, getting outside of your bubble, see how other people think about problems and approach thinking about problems, but also this idea of accountability. It keeps some skin in the game, right? You have to be ready to contribute, and not just because the faculty member might cold call you, but also because you have an obligation to your classmates. If everybody didn't do the reading and showed up to that class, well, the case method wouldn't happen. So you have this kind of collective responsibility, and it's something that has come up time and again when I talk with alums, and it sounds like that resonates with you.
Oh yes, yeah, and I mean that's what makes the case method work. I think is just the fact that everyone feels like they have skin in the game, and they are, they have the want to contribute, not have to contribute.
I think also about what that means for life outside of the classroom. So you have a group of people who have self-selected into a participatory learning experience, and they're curious about the other people in the room. The case method sort of has that as a precondition, right? You have to be open to other people's perspectives and backgrounds and want to learn from them. We now are on the verge of double-digit student organizations in the Executive MBA program,
Wow.
which may be surprising to our listeners. We are at 9, maybe 10 and counting at this point. Of course, the veterans group is one of them. Tell our listeners a bit more about what the Veteran Executive Students at Darden student organization is.
Yeah, so the Veterans Executive Students at Darden, also called VESD, military, we have to use acronyms. So what that is a student-led affinity group. So we welcome the current Darden students, also the alumni as well, to participate within this group. It's a rich group where our mission is just to really just pull together like our military experiences. Um, to to enhance each other's opportunities and career opportunities, and also to really just build camaraderie within the Darden community. There's also our sister organization, which is the Darden Military Association. They are another organization that's run by the students in the residential format as well in Charlottesville. So they have a similar mission that we do. We just for VESD we cater to the the executive format students, and focusing on the unique career needs of our executive MBA students as well.
Yeah, and it's one of our, I would say, first student organizations on the Executive MBA side. And you maintain a LinkedIn group that's out there for
Yeah.
people to connect and network. What kind of programming does VESD provide? Do you do anything sort of formally, informally for the membership?
Yeah, so what we do is we provide learning opportunities because we do have a very rich veteran community here at Darden, which is amazing because you pull from a lot of different areas within the military community to get those different experiences that those in the private sector would otherwise know nothing about, possibly. So, but within the programming within VESD, we bring in speakers, senior level speakers. We just recently finished up a fireside chat talking about home ownership. And you may not think that's like a veteran oriented thing to talk about, but we talked about the VA loan and different aspects of that, and how we brought in a loan officer who's been in the business for over 20 years, and she's very versed in this. And she was able to give like a lot of great tips on just how to navigate through that. And I've been hearing feedback that a lot of folks from the Darden community have actually contacted her post this meeting, just following up on questions, and because they're right now during this time, home buying is it's something that a lot of people are doing. So yeah, I thought it was very timely. So just things like that, and just increasing the experience. We also do informal events. We do different like networking events, different happy hours. Now currently it's all online, but we do virtual happy hours as well. And just so we all keep that community together and intact, and because we do all have like pretty much like experiences in our past, so we want to make sure that the veteran community is very strong here at Darden.
And you're one of the co-presidents, along with Dylan Bear, who were in the process of getting on the podcast as well.
There we go.
What attracted you to serving as co-president? What attracted you to a leadership role with the organization?
Yeah, so within, I've always wanted to be within a leadership role here at Darden, like in one of the affinity groups. And as I was considering that, I was like, well, there's no other organization that I probably could contribute to most, and it's something I've been doing for the past 12 years of my life. So, and I mean, for me personally too, it's just like, and there's a lot of different clubs and organizations that I feel like I want to get back to too, but the veteran community was just something that's very close to my heart. So I was like, well, if not me, then who? So yeah, I just wanted to pick up the mantle and progress the ball down the field with this group, and hopefully leave it better than what I came in with.
Well, Kevin, I want to pick up sort of as we conclude the conversation here. There's a couple other things on my mind. I want to pick up on something you mentioned earlier. You're a global executive MBA format student. It's complicated to travel right now because of COVID. However, we did have the opportunity to go to Brazil together. It seems like forever ago, a completely different world back in November
Oh
of
yes.
2019. But man, what a great trip. And I think when I first arrived in Brazil, you're one of the first people I saw. I think you were heading out to go to a waterfall at some remote, taking a helicopter somewhere, going to see something out in the countryside. So maybe talk a bit more about your global residency experience.
Yeah, and it is very unfortunate, definitely understandable with the current environment that COVID has induced with restricting travel, but just the opportunity to travel with Darden and just how first class they made the experience was phenomenal. And I'm happy that I was able to experience that going to Brazil. I'm sad for my other classmates that unfortunately have not been able to experience that. Hopefully they will be able to before we graduate, even post-graduation as well. But yeah, just my time in Brazil, absolutely amazing. As you mentioned, I got in a little bit early to Brazil because I wanted to go see the waterfalls. So I took a day trip actually. So flew out in the morning, about an hour and a half flight. Saw one of the world's largest waterfalls out west of Sao Paulo. And yeah, saw it and actually took a boat ride and we went into the falls, which is actually astonishing. And it was breathtaking, one of the bucket list items. That's one of the reasons why I wanted to do the Global Executive MBA programs, just to create opportunities like that as well. And then just being in Brazil with my classmates and just the different experiences, the different foods we were able to try, to be able to attempt at Portuguese, and just talking with the locals and just knowing what their experience is. And I mean I think that's what develops you as a leader. I think that develops you to get those different perspectives that you usually won't get unless you're on in country or on grounds. And that's why I wanted to really involve myself in a global executive MBA program. So I'm so fortunate to have gotten that experience in Brazil, and I hope we have more to come.
I know Lottie Carr is working hard. She's a friend of the podcast, been on here a couple of times, done a number of webinars with us as well, talking about the global experiences that are available to executive format students. I know she's hard at work trying to find ways for you and your classmates to have some global experiences, even in this context. I think there may have even been a virtual opportunity to learn a bit more about Estonia recently.
Oh yes, yeah. So some of our classmates, they did a virtual tour, virtual learning event, and it was more than one event. It lasted multiple days, Estonia, and currently right now we have Cuba on the books. We'll see if that goes through, but I just want to give a huge shout out to Lottie and her team. They are doing everything they can to try to make this experience happen for our class in particular, but for future classes as well. And I applaud them for their efforts, because we're in an environment right now that travel is very restricted, and they're looking for any and all opportunities for us to travel on a global scale.
It's amazing talking with Lottie about this sort of thing because you just kind of feel like she's going to figure it out. There's going
Oh
to be
yeah.
somewhere our students can go, and she's going to find a way to put together a global experience, and it's just going to work out. I always appreciate her optimism and just her improvisation skills. I mean, she's traveled so much with executive format students and has such great stories. But it was a true pleasure being in Brazil with you and your classmates, and just finally getting to see a global residency up close and personal. It was the first one that I had ever gone on myself, and to see Sao Paulo and Rio, the two cities, very different than one another, probably a bit antagonistic towards one another as well.
Hmm.
And that's. But it was fantastic to spend some time there and visit companies and have some downtime. And it's great to see you and your classmates bond over that week. I feel like that's one of the things that people always talk about is you really want to get to know someone well, travel with them. And so to spend a week or so in Brazil and have that experience, it felt like y'all really got to know each other.
Oh yeah, we still share a lot of those stories today. So it's like I said, it's just an unforgettable experience, and definitely suggest anyone that you're able to do that to go on these global trips. It's unforgettable.
Well, Kevin, any last words of advice for our listeners? We have a number of prospective students who listen to the podcast. Anything you might suggest to them as they continue to explore both an
Yeah.
MBA and Darden?
Yeah, I would definitely say, as you're exploring Darden, I would 100%, as we mentioned before, just get to know the program, talk to students. I know Brett is a great resource to connecting you with current students and even some, alumni as well on just their experiences. So I encourage you to do that, use that resource, ask any questions that you may have, any concerns that you may have. And trust me, if a current student does not know the answer, I'm sure he or she knows who in the program would know that answer, and they'll be more than happy to connect you. So take full advantage to get to know the program, and good luck. It's an exciting journey.
I'm glad you made that last point because even the research process is a journey. You meet interesting people along the way. You build your network. You learn things about yourself and what's important to you and what you want to get out of this. And so if you can see it as a journey and as part of a path and, ultimately part of a dream that you have, I think that's the best way to be through the process. So, Kevin, for anybody who wants to learn a bit more about the veteran and executive students at Darden, how might they do that?
Anyone who wants to talk to me, more than happy to discuss with you about the VESD program, about my Darden experience, even future career paths that I'm considering right now. So happy to chat with you or have it connect you to anyone in the program to chat with you as well. So thank you for having me, Brett.
Yeah, it's great having you on here, Kevin. We'll make sure that your email address finds its way to our listeners.
Thank you, Brett.
And that was my interview with Kevin Rivers, a second-year student in our Executive MBA class of 2021. Of course, if you're interested in connecting with Kevin, he was generous enough to allow us to share his email with our listeners. You can reach him at Rivers, that's Rivers, K as in Kevin, 21 at darden.virginia.edu. And until next time, stay safe, be well, and thanks for listening.